resting place. I see your mind's full of delusion. When you look in the mirror, do you see your own face? Welcome to California, a place for hopes, a place for dreams, a place for scars, a place for screams. Welcome to Hollywood. Did you come here for a reason?
Whoa, we're back. It's Modern Art Blitz. It's a special Thursday edition because I'm going to a Super Bowl party. I'm not gonna compete with Tom Brady getting sacked. Oh, please, God, please. Okay, so our guest today, we have a Buck Shanty later in the show. We already interviewed Jennifer Corson. Right now, I've got the great sculptor, artist. There's a lot of things he's doing. It's a whole melange. Ooh, that's a big word. Hey, man, I don't even know how many points that is in Scrabble. But, ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Gray. Bruce,
hey.
Welcome to Modern Art Blitz.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
All right, man. Hey, now we go back. We go way back.
We do go way back.
Way back. But is that my phone? Oh, I'm turning the voice control on. Sorry about that. Jeez, I'm sitting on my phone, but I don't know where to put it. Ugh. Okay.
No match found.
No match found. Sorry. Boy, edit this part out. So, well, there you are, Bruce. Whoa, there you are.
No match found.
Oh my God, I'm gonna kill my phone. Okay, jeez, no match found. Bruce, you found your match with robots. What inspired you to make robots?
Well, you know, I'm inspired by just all that kind of stuff that kids who never grow up are inspired by. Mad Magazine, all the comics and cartoons.
Are you a kid who never grew up?
I am.
You are? Now,
without a doubt.
I've been to your studio. It's like a giant, extensive machine shop. You know, kids should not be playing around that stuff. That's where
Right.
adult Bruce comes in.
Right. Well, you know, the studio is pretty dangerous. There's about several thousand ways you can lop off an appendage, and so yeah, having little kids running through there is not my favorite experience. But the cool thing is, it's like having an unsupervised shop class for the rest of your life.
Oh man.
So if I want to just sit there and make kung fu throwing stars all day, you know, that's what I do.
That's dangerous though.
Well, I'm going to actually make a wall sculpture out
A
of it.
wall sculpture of a kung fu throwing star.
Stars, a whole
Stars.
bunch of them.
The ninjas carry those, right?
Exactly.
So people will get the reference.
Sure.
Especially kids who never grew up. Right?
Absolutely.
So is your alpha customer, the alpha art collector who's after your work, is that person a kid who never grew up?
Well, you know, I get a pretty wide range of collectors, a lot of doctors, a lot of lawyers, a lot of people in the film industry, a lot of other artists.
Public art commissions?
Public art commissions, but mostly in the form of large corporate commissions.
Okay, and then your art's also been in a lot of movies and TV, right?
Right.
How do you wing those deals? Do they audition like actors? Do you take in your sculpture? He could be in the. Are you like a studio mom? You know, like I want my kid in no.
Well, you know, I've done stunt welding.
What's that?
You know, where they have the actor who needs to weld a sculpture but doesn't know how to weld, so they just kind of throw me in there.
You put on the costume
Yeah,
and
exactly.
do the welding, and then the thing goes up and it's Brad Pitt.
Exactly.
And you're
Not
like,
Brad Pitt.
Well, you know, in lieu of Brad, you're there. You're the stunt welder.
Right. But, you know, I started doing that very early on. Sleeping with the Enemy was my first movie I ever had anything in. And
I thought you were saying that was your strategy for getting your art into movies was to sleep with the enemy. Okay, sorry, I was a little thrown off there, but so you were in the movies. Your art was in the movie Sleeping with the Enemy.
That
now,
was
the most
like
famous
my first one.
The most famous one though was Austin Powers, right?
Yeah, I had stuff in all three of those.
Wow.
That was really fun, I have to admit. You know, I got to go on set for that and I met everybody, and they were raving about my magnet sculpture. And
now, but the thing is that isn't it weird that Dr. Evil collected your art as opposed to the good guys? Does that bug you a little bit? Was there a moral crisis?
No, yeah, most of my stuff was in Dr. Evil's lair.
Yeah,
for sure.
But what does that tell you, though? Like, morally speaking,
that it's kind of the cooler set.
Okay. So,
but it was also kind of funny because, I met Mike Myers dressed as Dr. Evil on set when he noticed my big magnetic sculpture, and first thing he says to me, "Are these dangerous?" he didn't do this, but he looked like he was about to, and I had about 50 things roll through my head.
Oh man, how many?
But I was like, okay, I'm holding back.
Yeah, never try to outcomic a comedian.
No.
So now what do we? Now this is, and I think it's a little rarer for you, or a little less common, is the 2D here. We're floating in the painting here. What are you painting with here?
Those are acrylics on canvas here.
And what year is this?
Isn't this 2017?
We are now living in 2017.
Right.
What year? No, what year is this? What year is this artwork?
I honestly don't remember. I'd say about 10 years ago.
10 years. This is a 10-year-old. You brought a 10-year-old painting, but I do now.
Well, I just wanted an example of this.
Pictorially, who would you say your influences are?
Sculpture-wise
in art history?
or painting?
No. In painting here.
In painting, I would say mostly people like Picasso and Kandinsky.
Oh, definitely. I see the Kandinsky. Totally.
Yeah, but I mean overall, not particularly, Picasso in this particular piece.
No, but it's always in you, right?
But yeah, exactly. And Basquiat is a big influence for me.
On the type of pot you smoke? Oh! Okay. So what? How many colors are in this? Do you know? Do you mix the colors? Is it straight out of the tube?
No, I mix them, and this one was a pretty huge one. That's 8 feet across.
Oh, so we're almost life size here.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I got the green chair, so you can't see it. It's with your chair. It's like maybe we wheel you around a little, right? And how often do you do paintings? Because you're mostly a sculptor.
Well, I got into the paintings, to be honest, because I needed to have a break from disc grinding all the time. And
Get out of the shop, into the studio.
Absolutely. And I really like doing like this kind of style of work, but it's really tedious. I couldn't have picked something that's a little more fun and, kind of spontaneous.
Splash that paint around, come on.
No, everything I do has to be like,
a manufacturing process.
Your eyes just going buggy painting these tiny little lines.
Let's see what else Bruce brought. Ooh, oh wow, ooh, paper airplanes. Are these paper?
Well, they're aluminum.
They're modeled after paper airplanes, but they're made out of aluminum.
Right.
How many we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, where is this installed?
That's at Little Rock National Airport, and the planes are each 4 feet long.
In Little Rock, Arkansas?
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. The aesthetics are great, but I'm curious, what really goes into, legally, how do you make sure if that thing falls and stabs somebody, how do you not get sued?
You let them do the installation.
Okay. Okay, good answer.
Well, I don't have a licensed contractor, license and stuff, so I can make the sculptures. But there are situations where, if you make a really super heavy standing sculpture, you can make it, but you have to have a structural engineer look at how it's going to be attached and that sort of thing.
And you just hand it off. You don't want any part of that.
You really have to.
You know what? Your wisdom emanates. I get it. Just do your part. Give that to them. Lawyers, bye-bye, etc.
Absolutely.
So, okay. That makes perfect sense. Okay, so moving along, because we got the paper airplanes. Do we have more paper airplanes? Let's see what's next. Oh my God, whoa, how big is this life size?
That is life size.
All right, I don't want to, you can almost get on it and ride. Okay, wow, that's almost life size. And I'm looking at it and wondering how many parts are in this thing.
Quite a few. There's a lot of train parts. The seat is a coupling link that holds 2 trains together.
Wow.
The gears are actually gears from one of those giant cranes that stacks trains on top of each other.
Oh, really? The wheels are actually gears?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're all very, very heavy. Everything to do with building a piece like this is dramatic because just moving anything is no fun.
And let me ask you, how heavy is this?
I'm saying probably 800 pounds minimum.
800 pounds? So who bought this?
Nobody.
Oh.
It's in my studio. I did have the Motorcycle Museum Hall of Fame contacted me, and they wanted to have it at their museum, but they wanted me to pay for crating and shipping.
Oh, shipping
which
it.
I
Oh,
said,
sure. I'll happily
That
donate
sounds
to
like
you.
a great idea.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Where is the Motorcycle Hall of Fame?
I don't know. I didn't even bother looking.
Cheapskateville, it sounds like. Wow. So this is still available, right?
It is, yeah.
Ballpark, how much does this run?
25 grand.
25 grand. Wow. How much is a paper airplane made out of aluminum?
Those are in that size, 1400.
Yeah.
I also do them in stainless steel. I've done them for outsides of building as well. They get mounted on posts.
Did you, when you were a kid, did you ever make paper
Oh, of
airplanes?
course.
Yeah,
of
okay.
course.
And
sure.
you were a motorcyclist for years.
Many years, yeah.
How many accidents did you get into?
Well over 30.
Well over 30, and you're still walking, talking?
Relatively.
Relatively speaking? Okay. So let's see if we could vroom past the motorcycle, and what else you got a bag of tricks here. Whoa, how big is
The cheese.
How big's the cheese?
The big cheese, number 4. I think I've done like 5 of these.
Yep.
This one lives in Prague. It actually got purchased by someone on the board at LACMA.
The Orange County Museum of Art.
LA County.
The LA LACMA.
Yeah.
Oh, LACMA, I think you said ACMA. LACMA.
Right.
LA County Museum of Art, but why is it in Prague?
Because the guy has a house there.
Oh, he bought it for his summer home in Prague.
Exactly.
So the cheese spends the winters alone, right? So now, is this,
It's sad.
I'm curious if it's functional as a tabletop or if it's meant to just be the sculpture in the room.
Well, it's really just meant to be the sculpture.
Yeah.
Of course, I have found out that anytime you make a sculpture with a flat surface, someone will attempt to use it as a table.
Sometimes it's the collector and sometimes it's their gauche guest, right?
Exactly.
Yes, okay. So what inspired you to do the big cheese?
You know, I've always just been inspired to do interesting shapes, whether they're, insects, a slice of Swiss cheese, a high heel shoe, keys, anything that's comprised of a lot of interesting shapes. I like to kind of force people to go, oh yeah, if you really look at these shapes, this is actually a lot cooler than I may have given it credit for. And this particularly is one of the most technically difficult things to make that I have made.
Because you make separate parts for the
It's all
sphere.
hollow.
Okay.
So I make the wedge out of aluminum, and then I get these half spheres spun on a machine. Then I cut and set them in. And in this case, there's bubbles connecting from one side to another and all that kind of thing. And there's no real way to measure that out. And
So
it's
you're not
lots
worried
of
about the
trial and error.
competition making these because they're difficult to make, right?
They are difficult
Yeah.
to make.
All right. How long does it? Because I know Swiss cheese probably takes 3 weeks.
Well,
in the bucket.
that one was the most complex one I've done. I'm not sure. I don't even like to keep track of that kind of stuff.
Because if you were paying yourself, you wouldn't even
Right.
make.
You'd
would
just
be
get depressed.
The minimum wage, you'd be a millionaire. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Are there crackers after the cheese? Oh, this is another wall. This is a wall sculpture, right?
Right.
Wow. And this is this? It looks like brushed aluminum.
This one, it's got brushed aluminum, it's got disc ground stainless steel, regular hot rolled steel, and some distressed.
Do you cut with a plasma cutter?
Yeah, this is all cut with my plasma
Can
cutter.
you explain to our audience who may not know what is a plasma cutter?
Well, most people have seen like oxyacetylene torch. It's this high power flame coming out, and that will either weld or cut metal depending on how you have the settings and what kind of tip. The plasma cutter is just a little more of an advanced kind of system of that. It runs off compressed air as well as the high power. And I have one that I have hooked up to a CNC machine, so I can put in fairly complex shapes like in this piece.
And CNC with a plasma cutter?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I have a handheld one that can cut through a whole, a solid inch of steel, just like butter.
Now, you ever do any safe cracking?
I thought I told you not to bring that up.
Sorry. Let's talk about something
Well,
safe, the president. Never mind, okay.
You could get into just about anything with the tools I have.
Oh, yeah? Wow. Now, I want to ask you why you chose the black background for this?
Actually, it's a dark green background, and that's because it's at the client's home.
Okay, so basically this would go on any wall. So you made this.
And that's 8 feet wide.
Wow.
So
okay.
it's a pretty big piece.
Oh man, how heavy is that? Is it all pretty light, thin pieces?
As far as I remember, I think I made it in 2 pieces so it would overlap to make it a lot easier to install.
And you're not going to be hanging that motorcycle on a wall, right? That goes on a...
No.
Okay. So how did you get your start as an artist? I mean, when you were growing up, did you think one day I'm going to be an artist, or were you just thinking...
No. I had no idea that I wanted to become an artist as a kid. I was thinking more like Jacques Cousteau or James Bond.
Oh, okay.
And
well,
both those gigs were taken. So,
why?
I joined the Coast Guard after high school, and
you guarded the coast for a few years?
I did. I worked on electronics on what is now GPS. It was called Moran Equipment.
Wow.
And then, 4 years, I kind of figured, well, that's just about enough of this for me, and I decided I wanted to try to go to school for something, and I just decided to try to get into the arts, and I didn't have a portfolio, so I put together my entire portfolio in about an hour.
That always works.
No, it didn't work. It did not work at all. Wow. And then they contacted me back later saying if I came and met with the dean and did some drawings for him and yada yada, that they might let me in on a trial basis. And so I did that, and I had to get all B's to stay in school. And the reality is, coming out of the military, you have such a leg up on
just
people coming right out of high school.
That's yeah. Some of us never got that discipline. God. Oh. Well, Bruce Gray, thank you so much for being on Modern Art Blitz. And I will say this, I lived at the Brewery Art Colony for many years, and you were always a great neighbor. So on top of being a great artist, he's a good guy. All right, we'll be back with Buck Shanny right after this.
Well, just because you could